Hello, good morning children. Today in this video I am going to explain class 8 history 6th chapter colonialism on the city, the remaining part. Yesterday in the previous video we were discussing about life in the time of partition. How were the lives changed after the partition? Some of them went to migrants as migrants to Pakistan, and some of them remained in the old city only in the hope of that they will get back their homes, and they settled in refugee camps, and for those refugee camps also their colonies they established, and afterwards schools, stalls, colleges and shops also opened for these refugees. And later what it happened, now let's see in this video. The skills and occupations of the refugees were quite different from those of the people they replaced. So, the people who went to Pakistan and vacated the houses of the Delhi, they were the skilled persons, artisans, labourers and merchants. Many of the Muslims who went to Pakistan were artisans, petty traders and labourers. The new migrants coming to Delhi were rural landlords, teachers, lawyers, traders and small shopkeepers. So, the people who came from Pakistan to reside in the Delhi, they were landlords, lawyers, teachers and small shopkeepers. So, the change you can observe that here left people, artisans and labor, and the people who came, they were lawyers, teachers, shopkeepers and landlords. Partition changed their lives and their occupations. They had to take up new jobs as hawkers, vendors, carpenters and ironsmiths. So after coming here, immediately who will give job to them? That's why they have to work as vendors, hawkers, shopkeepers, ironsmiths and carpenters. Many, however, prospered in their new businesses. So at last they cope up with the situation and they were prospered with the new businesses. That means they were habituated to the new works they have adopted. The large migration from Punjab changed the social milieu of Delhi. An urban culture largely based on Urdu was overshadowed by new tastes and sensibilities in food, dress and clothes. So earlier Sufi culture was there. That means Persian, all the Muslims people. So Delhi represented the culture of Muslims. But after this partition, all the many Sikhs families and Hindus families came. That's why their dress, their culture, food habits, everything changed. The culture, total representation of the Delhi changed here. Next, inside the old city. Inside the old city. Meanwhile, what happened to the old city that had been Shahjahanabad? Okay, here they constructed New Delhi, and what about that Shahjahanabad which was built by Shah Jahan? What about those people? Let's see. In the past, Mughal Delhi's famed canals had brought not only fresh drinking water to homes but also water for their domestic purposes. So, the canals which were built during the time of Shah Jahan, they brought not only drinking water and at the same time the water for other domestic needs also. That means the canals fulfill the necessities of the people. This excellent system of water supply and drainage was neglected in the 19th century, but that system totally neglected in the 19th century. Why? These people were in the Shahjahanabad. That's the British did not show interest on them as the rebellion spread. They were in the mood of revenge. That's why they have constructed New Delhi. So completely they neglected the people who are residing in this Shahjahanabad. The system of wells are broke down and canals to remove household and the channels to remove household waste were damaged. So the waste water, the channels to remove household waste, whatever the waste that removing channels, they were also damaged. This was at a time when the population of the city was continuously growing. So, one side population of the city developing, and at the same time here the facilities, drinking water, drainage system, wastewater supply, wastage supply, all the channels were broke down. The broken down canals could not serve the needs of this rapidly increasing population. So, if population is growing, at the same time, parallelly, this system also they have to develop. The facilities should be developed. But here, population is increasing and the facilities are decreasing. At the end of the 19th century, the Shahjahani drains were closed and a new system of open surface drains was introduced. So, during the Shah Jahan time, there were covered drainages. Drainages also will not be visible on the roads. So, there were covered drainages. But after this, what these people done, they have constructed open drainages. That means open roadside, both sides, the drainages. Now, how we can see our in our Tenali town, in our places. This system too was soon overburdened, and many of the wealthier inhabitants complained about the stench from roadside privies and overflowing open drains. So, this open drainage system did not work, as many rich people, they can't tolerate this much dirtiness and overflowing drains on the roads, that unhealthiness. That's why they complained to the government. That means by the time who was the British government? Britishers only. To them only they have complained. The Delhi Municipal Committee was unwilling to spend money on a good drainage system. But the Delhi Municipal Committee was not at all listening, as they were residing in the Shahjahanabad. Okay. At the same time, though millions of rupees were being spent on drainage systems in the New Delhi area, one side in the New Delhi, new city construction, they were spending billions of rupees. But in the old city, Shahjahanabad, they were not at all willing to spend even a penny. The decline of Havelis. Then, what about the situation? What about the condition of the Havelis which were constructed during Shah Jahan time in the old city? The Mughal aristocracy in the 17th and 18th centuries lived in grand mansions called Havelis. A map of the mid-19th century showed at least 100 such Havelis, which were large walled compounds with mansions. Big mansion will be there, and around compound wall will be there. Courtyards and fountains. A Haveli housed many families. On entering the Haveli through a beautiful gateway, you reached an open courtyard surrounded by public rooms. If you enter the Havelis, open courtyard will be there and four sides rooms will be there. So, that was the construction of old Havelis. These public rooms meant for visitors and business, used exclusively by males. So, whatever the rooms down around the courtyard, they were used by male only, and that also visitors, whoever visitors comes to those Havelis, and the merchants, okay, business, for the business purpose, they used to use those rooms. The inner courtyard with its pavilions and rooms was meant for the women of the household. So, open courtyard was for business purpose and the male, and the inner courtyard was for the purpose of women, for the household work. Rooms in the Havelis had multiple uses and very little by way of furniture. So, in the inner side, the Havelis have multiple uses. Okay, they have used for multiple purposes, and little way by furniture. For the furniture purpose, they use less. Even in the mid-19th century, Qamar-ul-Din Khan's Haveli had several structures within it and included housing for the cart drivers, tent pitchers, torch bearers, as well as for accountants, clerks, and household servants. So, here one mansion they have example given that in those Haveli, in his Haveli, he has given housing facility to cart drivers, torch bearers, and accountants, clerks, to all those whoever have been working under him. he has given housing facility in his mansion, in his Haveli only. Many of the Mughal Amirs were unable to maintain these large establishments under conditions of British rule. So, after the British rule, after the British conditions, these many Amirs, Mughal Amirs, they were unable to control, unable to maintain these Havelis. Then what they have done? Let's see. Havelis therefore began to be subdivided and sold. That's why they have subdivided. They have divided into different portions, and those portions they sold. Often the street front of the Havelis became shops or warehouses. If the Havelis are beside the road, okay, road facing Havelis means the front part they have given to shopkeepers and warehouses. Some Havelis were taken over by the upcoming mercantile class, but many fell into decay and disuse. Okay, some Havelis for slowly, small industries will be there, na? The mercantile houses like that, for the mercantile class, they have given to some Havelis, but many of them they were decayed and fell into decay and disuse. That is, they left with no people. Not the soul and no maintenance is there. The colonial bungalow was quite different from the Haveli meant for one nuclear family. It was a large single storage structure with a pitched roof and usually set in 1 or 2 acres of open ground. So, Mughals time mansions, so many people resided in those in those Havelis. But during the colonial rule under the British, they also constructed Havelis. But here, these Havelis for only nuclear family, that means a small family, only 2-3 people or 4 people used to stay in one big Haveli. Okay, right, like rich people's mansions. Single storage structure with a pitch roof and usually set in 1 or 2 acres of open ground. So around that Haveli, 1 or 2 acres land will be there, and that also that single storage house and for a nuclear family, small family. It had separate living and dining rooms and bedrooms and a wide veranda running in the front and sometimes on 3 sides. So front there will be veranda and separate living rooms, bedrooms for all the people of members of the family. Or sometimes veranda not only one side, 3 sides they used to keep, and inside they used to construct these buildings. Like that, these under British rule they constructed the mansions, Havelis. That means complete difference is there. Yes or not? Mughal rule, many people used it, including the workers also. But here only these houses for the nuclear rich families, and 2-3 people, 4 people used to stay in that, and separate bedrooms, living rooms and like that. Next, kitchens, stables and servants' quarters were in a separate space from the main house. So in that compound only separate stables for housekeeping, stables and kitchen room also separately they kept, and at the same time servants' quarters also they kept in the other part of this mansion. The house was run by dozens of servants. The women of the household often sat on the verandas to supervise tailors or other tradesmen. So what the women will do, they will sit on the veranda and they use it to supervise the work of the servants. For example, tailors and other tradesmen, how they were working, like to supervise the duty. This is the duty of the women in those mansions. Next, the municipality begins to plan. The census of 1931 revealed that the walled city area was horribly crowded with as many as 90 persons per acre, while New Delhi had only about 3 persons per acre. So, in 1931 census, what they have said, for 1 acre, they used to 90 persons during Mughal rule. But after the New Delhi, under the British rule, in 1 acre, only 3 persons used to stay. See how much difference is there. Okay, next. The poor conditions in the walled city, however, did not stop it from expanding. In 1888, an extension scheme called the Lahore Gate Improvement Scheme. When it happened? In 1888. Lahore Gate Scheme. Okay. Lahore Gate Improvement Scheme was planned by Robert Carr. Robert Carr. Okay. For the walled city residents, the people who were residing in the Shahjahanabad walled city, for them, they have improved. Robert Carr, he has brought a scheme, Lahore Gate Improvement Scheme, in 1888. The idea was to draw residents away from the old city to a new type of market square around which shops would be built. So, what was his plan? To vacate the people who were residing in the walled city and to bring those in a market square place where the people will reside in the center and here shops will be there. Like that, he want to bring a new improvement in the lives of the people who are residing in the walled city, around which shops will be built. Streets in this redevelopment strictly followed the grid pattern and were of identical width, size and character. So, here in this grid-like, that means the streets should be unique. Like that, they wanted to design. Land was divided into regular areas for the construction of neighborhoods. So, in a grid manner, they want to construct in a unique manner like this. So, if the land is like this, means here, like this, for each person, they wanted to construct a house. Clerkganj, as the development was called, so this developed area was called as Clerkganj, remained incomplete and did not help to decongest the old city. But this work they were unable to complete. So it remained incomplete and it should not fulfill the needs of the old city people. Even in 1912, water supply and drainage in these new localities was very poor. So in the 1912 also, till 1912 also it was not developed and the facilities were very poor in this Robert Clerkganj. If the facilities are not there, means how the people will reside? Yes or not? Okay. Next. The Delhi Improvement Trust was set up 1936 and inbuilt areas like Daryaganj South for the wealthy Indians. So again in 1936, they have planned one more scheme. In 1936, they have planned one more implement, that is Delhi Improvement Scheme. Delhi Improvement Trust. Set up in 1936 and the inbuilt areas like Daryaganj. Now also it was there in Delhi, Daryaganj. Okay. For wealthy Indians, not for the poor people. It was for wealthy Indians who were rich. For this Daryaganj was built for them. Okay, wealthy Indians. Houses were grouped around parks. So, where there were parks, they have constructed here the houses of the rich people around the parks. Within the houses, space was divided according to new rules of privacy. So, in these houses only, rooms also divided on the basis of privacy. Instead of spaces being shared by many families or groups, now different members of the same family had their own private spaces within the home. Here only, in these houses only. Okay, now how we are constructing in present days. Living rooms, bedrooms, separate and privacy should be there. Like that, here also they have constructed for wealthy Indians. So, this was the lesson, children. I hope you understood the content. By this, history part 1 over. All the 6 chapters I have completed. The remaining, the second book I will explain in the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.